a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications options. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatterspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for
Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices. I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. But you know, the wouldn't let you have it any other way.
Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters for another week. It is the Fans Forum, and good evening to everybody watching. Good evening to George, to Barry, to Darren, to Magnus, Alan, Tom, Kevin, Pablo, Martin, and we've got Jeff waiting in the wings as well. Full house tonight. And George, let's look back at what was a very impressive and important win for Newcastle. 2-0 against Chelsea, which was dubbed by many as a cup final in its own right because of the importance of the game. But yeah, 2-0 win for Newcastle. What did you make of it, George?
Well, thoroughly enjoyable. Another cup final, and we brought our cup final team. It was as straightforward as that. And on occasions, sometimes I've been frustrated with Eddie Howe with his substitutions and this sort of thing. But the beginning of the match was all Eddie Howe. He outthought the Chelsea guy from the off, fooled us because we were thinking about who's he going to play. Is he going to drop Murphy? Is he going to drop Barnes? Is Gordon coming in? And because there was a couple of niggling injuries to Trippier and so on, he tossed it around and he put Jacob Murphy at like a wing back, which was hugely successful. And that released Dan Burn to follow Cole Palmer all over the place and take him out of the game nicely. And the other thing is that the Chelsea manager, like some others have in the past, Crystal Palace particularly, came out with a team that wasn't set up against our press. They just were lost. There was no out ball for them. And it was clear from the first touch that we were going to give them a hard time, especially down the flanks with the pace and all the rest of it. So it was a great day. And as I say, that first 45 minutes was as good a 45 minutes as we've had. The sending off kind of spoilt the game in some ways, but on the other hand, it was thoroughly deserved sending off because it was absolutely atrocious what the guy did. So much to enjoy out of our lads, everybody doing their bit. Free kicks, corners, and so on. Much more invention because Tonali was taking them for a change, and that was great to see that some of the inventive things that he was trying with the dead ball situations, and just outstanding. As always, it's difficult in a match like that where we do so well that you look at man of the match. Well, Tonali's always up there at the front, but on this occasion, I've got to say, I've got to go with the television pundits and give it to Dan Burn, who was absolutely magnificent. And there was things Dan Burn yesterday did that I didn't even think he had in his locker. Some of his play with long balls couple of balls to the outside of his right foot, were absolutely superb. If that had been Fabian Schär, we would all been saying, "Ooh, Fabian Schär." Well, it was, Dan Burn. It was absolutely brilliant. So, and he was in a sense, in an attacking sense as well, he was a threat for every ball that went into the area, up in the air. And of course, the second goal, he was standing like the angel of the north with his arms in the air, waiting for the ball to come. And it came to his feet, and he killed it first time, laid it off to Bruno. Now, I think he wanted a quick 1-2, so he could have a smack at the goal. But Bruno didn't give him the chance. He just vaulted into the back of the net, which was absolutely fantastic. Second half, Chelsea got organised and just made things difficult, which you'd expect them to do. And I think we were right to hold them, because they have players like Cole Palmer, like James when he came on, and one or two others who can score a goal with a single shot from distance. And we just never gave them that chance. They got one header towards the end, which I thought was the most dangerous thing that happened. But in reality, if the ball had been, closer in or lower down, I think Pope would have got it anyway. But great to be there. Everything about it was fantastic. The pre-match atmosphere was unbelievable for a lunchtime kickoff. I've got to compliment all the fans. It was absolutely super. The people around us at Bar 1892 were really on high, though. 1892 is the place to be, with me shouting foul throw and Steve Hasty shouting, calm down. It's fantastic. I mean, people are loving it. And the sun yesterday was great as well. It made it a fantastic setting. But I've got to say, I usually wear my flat cap when I go into the ground. And there's a lady that sits behind me. When we score, I know we've scored, because she ruffles me flat cap like that on the top of my head. And by the time she's finished, my glasses are down here, and I'm like Captain Mandarin, I'm all over the place. Well, yesterday I fooled her, because with the sun, I took my flat cap off and put it in my coat. So when we scored, what did she do? She kissed the top of my head, so the flat cap's in the bin. Well, great day.
Good stuff. George, I'll take you out and bring Jeff in. We've got Ian as well waiting in the green room. Barry, give us your take on the game.
Absolutely great result. I'm wearing my Sweden top in honour, not necessarily of our unbelievable number 14. I'm wearing it for the guy who I thought had an amazing game, considering he has hardly played recently, Emil Krafth. I thought Howe's tactics, I know we were talking a bit about it there, just absolutely spot on at different times throughout the game. He seemed to be, he had a great idea of what Chelsea were going to do. We counteracted them. Sometimes the subs were all over the place, and I just didn't think that. I thought we started really well. Tonali's goal was, it's weird because I watched it back, and the first time you watch it, it looks a bit lucky because it's got that bounce as it lifts over the keeper once he hits it. And then as you watch the replay back a few times, you think he's probably done this deliberately. That's the way he's controlled the ball, and he's lifted it over the keeper because he is that good. And it was just, like George said, it was a great performance all the way around. I think the sending off, again, we were talking about this. The first time I watched it, it didn't look that bad. But on the replays, you could see he clearly went for Botman. His arm, there was no way that was unintentional. There was just no need for it. It should have been a straight red. But I know Darren will probably say something along these lines. The referee wasn't necessarily in the greatest position to see it.
Couldn't see it.
Yeah, so you can see why it ended up at VAR, and it makes a change for VAR to actually get something right and actually make a good decision, because the kid definitely deserved to be sent off.
Yeah.
And once they went down to 10 men, you just hoped we would tactically. I was sitting thinking, are we going to go for them? Are we going to try and build up a decent lead? Or are we just going to continue playing the game we did? And thankfully, we just continued playing the way we did. I thought great all-round performance. 3 games to go. It was exactly what we needed. I was very nervous about playing Chelsea because I thought they they could well turn us over, and it never looked like that was going to happen, Steve. So yeah, great match, great result. We're all on the next one because it's obviously we're now 2 points behind Arsenal, and we'll play them next. It could turn into an absolutely unbelievable end of the season the way it's going.
Okay, cheers, Barry. Darren, over to you, mate. What was your views? Jacob Murphy with another assist.
No, I missed pass again. He's done good again. I thought I know to talk to Jordan before. I thought the referee had a good game yesterday. The only thing he didn't get boot the Chelsea centre midfield player who's what's he called?
Castillo.
Yeah, he should have got a yellow card, but it's fair play to the VAR because the referee cannot see the elbow because he's in line with it. He cannot see because the Jackson looking in again with the elbow, so he cannot see it. For once, we use for the right reason. So first off, I said I know he's out tackle them, everything bang on. But second off, Anthony Gordon, he's diving in because second off he went through, he's diving too much going, and he's doing his roly polies 4 or 5. He had a bad game yesterday going. It was just out so wound up. He kept on diving. First off, he dived a few times. Second off, he had a bad game yesterday going for me. He was probably the worst player on the pitch from Newcastle yesterday. Man of match, yes. Agree with George. Dan Burn, not far behind him, is Tonali. But it was a good. The crowd was up for it. It was a good day. Sun was out, so it would deserve the win. But I say, I would bring on Arsenal next week, so we're all Champions League in our own hand, and now not there yet. So we've got to keep going the way we're doing it. So I'm happy.
Yeah, well, you didn't sound very happy, Darren. And George's face. George's face was a picture in the green room when you mentioned when you mentioned that. We'll move on though. We'll take you out and we'll bring Magnus in. Magnus, your thoughts on the game, mate? Good 3 points. A lot of people in the chat saying, "How on earth did Casado not get sent off?" He wasn't even booked. Incredible, really, Magnus. But what did you make of the game?
Yeah, first of all, I was pretty shocked when we didn't see when we saw the 2 injuries, Trippier and Willock. But this is typical Eddie Howe, keeping the cards close to himself and then not giving anything away. I think we handled the pressure. This was a game of great importance. You know, we couldn't have slacked off anything, and for me, we controlled the game, especially first half. There were chapters that worried me a little bit, but since that we had the lead, I really felt the team was organized and they stuck together at difficult times. You know, I heard Eidur Johnson speak about the game, and he was just saying. We wanted it more. You know, he's a former Chelsea player, and he did mention something about Chelsea. I mean, and we've often spoke about it here with all of our leadership players. This is so important. You know, they have a bunch of great talent over there in Chelsea, but no one to look up to or to go to at difficult times. So you know, they're really lacking their leadership. Being 24, 5, 6, or all of them, you know. So, well, that's not ours to worry. We can only beat what's in front of us. I especially enjoyed the sort of the beef between the South Americans, the captains of the teams. You know, they are hot-blooded, and I did think Bruno won that battle because Enzo. Fernandez threw out his dummy pretty early, and his sort of body language and sort of lack of composure showed all the way through the game. He's a great player still, you know. I respect him. Nick Pope had a great game, and I think this was a masterpiece of the tactical decisions because Chelsea really started working harder after losing their men, and 10 against us. They went to 4-4-2 second half, and it was working really well for them at times. Beginning of second half, I sort of got a little bit of an easy feeling, but seeing how everybody kept their position, and Nick Pope had a great game. He had a great save against Cucurella at the vital moment. Bruno could have possibly scored another goal, but I really enjoyed his goals. And Dan Burn, man, this is the Dan Burn show, isn't it? You know, I mean, he's going to be a busy man for the next few years, because I cannot see anybody else in England taking the England role for the World Cup 26. So I'm going to just plant that seed out there right now. This is the Dan Burn show. I mean, what a man. I love not just the assist that he made and all the contributions defensively. I just love it when people, especially at home, they celebrate a good tackle, and it makes the whole crowd roar. And we all need each other when it comes to those very big, important games. I enjoyed it very much, and I should mention I did forecast 2-0 victory, and I pictured it a little bit differently, you know. Once again,
good stuff, Magnus. Thank you, Alan. How's the cat?
It's well, Steve.
Good,
definitely. It's going well. Got an extra ration of food this week, and it's really happy. And so am I. Massive win. Game of two halves. Magnus hit the nail on the head for me. I was going to make a special mention for Nick Pope, because as much as his footwork isn't great, them two saves in the second half were extra special. Kept with 1-0 up. Chelsea changed their tactics in the second half. They had to press with, and probably Kevin will go into more detail about that, but they certainly changed the way of thinking, and actually it helped them. I think it helped them focus more when Jackson got sent off. It was a clear red card, and somehow one or two pundits are trying to make out a case for him, and you'll never ever see a clearer red card in your life. I mean, apparently, which I didn't see, Tyrone Mings was even worse, and he didn't get away with it. So, you know, so it just shows you the inconsistency with referees and the use of VAR. It goes that way. You get one and you lose one. In this case, we won it because Jackson was sent off. Massive 3 points, lads. Going forward, Steve, if I may say it, go on to the next stage. 2 games to go. It's still going to be squeaky bum time, lads, I think. Arsenal, I know Barry just said wibbly wobbly, but I thought Arsenal were fantastic yesterday. Although Liverpool switched off, haven't they? They've won the title, they switched off, but I thought Arsenal were fantastic yesterday. So it's going to be really hard. And I think if we beat them, then second place, and that would be an absolutely unbelievable season if we won both games. But that's the target we've got to do. And it's still all to play for with 2 games to go, lads. I'll just leave you with this, Steve. Getting second place, from second to 7th place, is an extra £14 million in the kitty. So it's no small beer for every place. You know, a lot of people are saying, I'll be happy with 5th, 4th, 3rd. But if you get second, it's 53 million. And if you get 7th place, I think it's only 39 million. So it's a lot to play for in financial terms as well. But over the moon, I'll let Kevin get on. Enough of my rambling, but fantastic win yesterday.
Well said. Yep, good knowledge that, Alan. Kevin, thoughts on the match? We often talk about Eddie Howe and criticism early in the season about him not being able to change things and sticking rigidly to a 4-3-3. But I think Eddie's learned a lot in his first couple of years at St James's Park, and certainly not afraid to mix it up. We were debating before the match yesterday. Was it 5 at the back? Was it 3 at the back with 2 wing backs? Was it, but that to start with, and then to revert back to the 4-3-3. brought Miley on, didn't quite do the job because, Cucurella was getting a little bit of joy down that flank for that 5-6 minute spell. So he changes the game, brings Kraft on, who was solid, hence Barry's little tribute today. But yeah, we saw another tactical masterclass from Eddie and his backroom staff.
Yeah, it was fabulous. I didn't have the time to debate. Obviously, didn't see the team. It was an early kickoff for me at 7 o'clock in the morning. But I didn't see it as I didn't see it a 5 at the back. I seen it as a 3-4-2-1. When we had the ball, when we lost the ball, it was then we go into a 5, then we drop in, and then we make it difficult for Chelsea. And I think that's what undone them in the first moments of the game. We went man for man like we did against Arsenal. Dan Burn was dropping in, following I think it was Palmer, whichever side he was on. Fabian Schär was doing exactly the same thing, whoever was on that other side. So yeah, it was brilliant from him, and I thought it was brilliant in the second half. The football on display wasn't pretty at the best of times, but tactically I think he'd done one on Enzo Maresca. I think he'd done one on him. Enzo Maresca was trying to go, I don't know what they played at the end. It was like 400 attackers on the pitch trying to get something out of the game, which you can't blame them. But they were trying to play in between our lines. We were trying to figure out how they were going to play. Then he shifted it to, like you said, a 4-3-3. But I think the only one blot for me is he could have changed it earlier. I think he could have brought Kraft on earlier instead of putting Murphy at right back, because he looked a fish out of water. He was struggling against Cucurella, who was pushing high. That was a problem, and that was when I was starting to get worried. I think, okay, that's where all the pressure's coming from. That's where the Nick Pope save comes from. And that was they were overloading because they knew Murphy's not a right back. So I would have made that change a little bit earlier. But I want to give a massive shout out to Sven Botman. I thought he was fabulous along beside Shaw and Byrne yesterday, coming back from a long injury layoff, another injury layoff, and then to come into a game like that and dominate the way he did, plus take one for literally take one for the team, which was, even when I seen it from a replay perspective, not live, but from a replay, he was there to do them. Players know when they're going to go do somebody. And as soon as I seen the replay, I said, that's a red card. He looked at the ball milliseconds, but he looked at Sven Botman and said, I'm doing you here, which is unprofessional and, all above. But outside of all of that, the start was fantastic in terms of the high press, the energy, the way that Tonali wins the ball back, switches the play. Obviously, then Murphy's I think it was a one-touch cross, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then that finish from Tonali, if it's entered, I don't know. You don't know what you're going to get with bloody Tonali, because he scores from 50 yards away near the corner flag. So you never know if he mishits it or if it actually it's a good contact. You don't know. But guess what? It went in, and that set the tone for the game. And then as the game went on, obviously Chelsea come into it after the red card. They start to develop more possession, which is their game. We drop in, play on the counter-attack. And I think I said in the Facebook group messages, and I think me and you, Pablo, were in agreement of that. The quickness of play was letting us down. We didn't move the ball quick enough against 10 men. Yes, we might have had it, but we didn't move it quicker. Which, for me, when you're playing against 10 men, you've got to make them run around. It's a bit of a warm, sunny day in Newcastle, thankfully, but we didn't do that. We just played into their hands a little bit, in my opinion. But, they kept going. They kept digging in. Eddie was chopping and changing, moving it around, went to the 4-3-3. Dan Burn, again, the Colossus at the back. You can't play long balls over that lad. You can't. Yes, he may got done for pace against Neto a couple of times, but I tell you what, he'll run through a brick wall for this team, and he's going to lead this team into the Champions League. That's just from an outside looking in, but we're talking. Lads have talked about the Reece James chance. Yes, it was a chance, but if you look at Nick's poor position, he wasn't worried about it. If you look at where he was in the middle of the goal, or just to the left side of it, I think he knew that would have saved it or tipped it over or be comfortable about it. So yes, it was a big chance in the moment in the game, in the moment of the game. But then to go down the other end, a few minutes later, less, and go and stuff, put one up them and say, okay, Bruno does it, and rattles everybody within that centre of midfield, because I thought Chelsea on the other side of it were quite dirty and nasty about how they approached their game. They fell over, they niggled, again, I'm baffled how Caicedo stayed on that park from minute 1 to 90, whatever it was. He kicked anything above grass. If he gets the ball, it's a miracle, because he just dives in horizontal. That's just how he plays. He plays on the edge, which is fair enough. But how he stayed on that park, it was a miracle. But like I said 2 or 3 weeks ago, 5-6 games, 15, 18 points. We've got 6 more to go. I think we can go down to Arsenal, get a point, go to Everton at home, smash the Scouse Mackhams at home, and then we'll be good to go. Champions League football again, fellas. And I've got my passport, so I might be able to get to a away game.
Good stuff, Kev. Thank you. Pablo?
Just a quick one on that, Kev. I've after that result, I actually checked my passport to see how long I've got left on it. I saved it. I waited and thought, right, we've done Chelsea now. Let's start booking Europe. And that's just
I'm flying over and you're driving the bus on the tour.
No problem. Show me the way to Barcelona. No, game wise.
Your singing hasn't improved.
No, it never will, mate. What an absolutely fantastic weekend. I mean, the lads have covered the intricate bits about the game, but all the teams around us, bar Villa, they've all kind of dropped points in their own way. So really, for us to then pick up 3 points against Chelsea, I mean, you've all said it. For me, I was engrossed in this kind of notion of, right, come on, they're down to 10 men. Why are we not going for the juggler here, And I was saying it in the chat and thinking, agreeing with Kev, saying, come on, we need to get on the ball, open the game up, run their legs out. But I think having listened to it and calmed down a bit after it, when you listen to Eddie and the way he analysed it after the game, it's kind of got to be hats off to him, because he saw that Chelsea would literally throw the kitchen sink at us, purely because, I mean, it was their last chance saloon in many ways. And I didn't really see that in the game. I just see my football team with 11 on the pitch. They've got 10, and I want to go and see us smash them. It's a very simplistic view, but looking back on it, he got everything right. Tactically, the way we set up. I mean, on the media, it was billed as almost a 4-4-1-1. And if that was the case, I think it worked really well for us. I don't know how you lads saw that, or whether you saw that differently, but that's the way it was portrayed on TV.
Out of the back.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you're right about the Caicedo thing. I mean, whether he's married to the referee in some foreign country, I've no idea. How that lad's not got a yellow card. I mean, he would get a yellow card on a Sunday morning in a pub league for the stuff that he was doing. But I think with that as well, I think we handled that very well. Chelsea had a lot of tricks up the sleeve. They're very cunning and sly about what they do. And I don't think that rattled us in any way. And I think a couple of Darren picked up on it before with Gordon. The way I saw a couple of them, certainly with the Gordon in the back, we've seen penalties given where people have put arms across someone's back. Had the game not have been so important, maybe you would have seen one of them given as a penalty. I'm not sure. But as regards the day, lads, I mean, what an absolutely fantastic day. We roll on. We've got 2 games left. Nick Pope, I'm not his biggest fan, but pulled off some cracking saves when it really mattered. Yeah. And I suppose that's the measure of a great goalkeeper, as they say. But what else have I got to say? No, the sending off, absolute sending off all day long. There's no question about that. Other than that, I believe the Chelsea fans behaved fairly poorly after it. Maybe someone could tell me a bit more about that. But other than that, do you know what, lads? Absolutely fantastic. We've got 2 games left, 2 big Super Cup finals. I'm not particularly worried at this point, which is strange, because I'm usually full of anxiety. But the lads every week keep proving me wrong. Any anxieties I have in my mind, when you see performances like Dan Burns giving, Tonali's giving, even Nick Pope pulling off worldies, then the anxiety levels have lessened somewhat, and I'm looking forward.
Yeah, pressure's off since the cup final win. There's a different mentality in this team now. They know they can win games. Cup final games don't have the same kind of fear or concern for them now, and that'll be the same going into Arsenal. Depends what team they can put out. Thanks for that, Pablo. Martin, good evening. What's your views on the win over Chelsea yesterday?
Yeah, I think the lads have all kind of hit the main core pieces. I think tactically the setup, he got it bang on. I think first bit of credit for me, I think I need to give to Nick Pope, because I thought the distribution out of his hands was absolutely bang on yesterday. Some of the passing and just picking the right pass to get us going. I thought he was probably as good as he's been for a long while. The saves, look, we know he's a good shot stopper. He's a good penalty stopper. He can be a bit ratchety sometimes coming into the air and trying to grab a ball or punch, but I thought his distribution yesterday was brilliant. I think he had good protection. As Kev said, when we were kind of out of possession, we dropped to the two banks of a 5 and a 4. I think that first 20 minutes, it baffled Chelsea completely. They didn't. I don't think Maresca knew that Eddie would change it up. I think he expected 4-3-3. And I think as soon as they got on the pitch, I don't think him or his coaches actually knew what was going on. I think on the Quesado piece, I don't know how he stayed on the pitch. He should have had a yellow and a red within the first 30 minutes. And I think the problem was the first two challenges he put in, the ref bottled it, and it made it hard for the rest of the game. And I think, the lads make the points about the inconsistency of referees and, Gordon and some of the penalties given. When you're doing that, yet Shaw made one challenge and got a yellow straight away. It's frustrating for the 11 on the pitch, because the inconsistency is just absolutely killing the game, and players are getting booked for, fairly minute challenges. And then there's other ones that are going in that are 2-footed or lunges or, down the back of the Achilles, which Caicedo done a good few times to different players, and, wasn't not a caution. So I thought the referee was disappointing at times yesterday. I thought Tonali, sometimes you need a little bit of luck. I think goal went in and, you take the 3 points, but I think I don't think the bounce into the ground was what he probably meant. I think he probably meant to hit it low and kind of first time and underneath, but look, keeper went, and sometimes luck goes your way and you get the break of the ball. Second half, once kind of Jackson went, it was a red. And I think the thing for me watching it on the box here was he takes 2 looks at the player before he even raises the arm. So it was pure intent for me. He looks twice at Botman and he raises up the elbow. And it's, I listened to McCoist and Darren Fletcher yesterday on TNT, and McCoist arguing the point that it didn't look intent. I like Ali McCoist as a commentator. I like Darren Fletcher as well. But Ali McCoist, I'm sorry, you were massively wrong. You were a bit of an egg yesterday, because that you were totally wrong. And to try and defend that somehow, you really were a letdown yesterday, Ali. I'm sorry, but second half, I thought, the sending off. I think we've all seen it before. Sometimes playing against the 10 is harder than the 11. I kind of, a bit like Pablo, I kind of wanted us to go for it. I was on Twitter going, "What are we doing? We got 11. Go get them." But I thought we probably maybe for the first 15 or so minutes of that second half, I thought we lost our way a bit. I think Kev hit the nail on the head. I think our transition was just way too slow that first maybe 20 minutes. I would have liked to have seen us stretch the pitch a bit, because they didn't have that to make up, and I think we didn't use the width of St James's Park to our best yesterday. I think once it kind of settled down, Chelsea started to come back into it. Cucurella started getting into the game. I thought there was an opportunity maybe before we dropped Murphy back to bring Kraft on and maybe Asula into that right wing and give Cucurella something to think about. And obviously give Isaac maybe a bit more support and coming in from that right-hand side. But at the end of the day, listen, if we'd have sat pre-game, which we did, and gone, listen, we take 3 points off a good team. I think with Chelsea, the thing to note is their away form has been really piss poor this season. They've not won in 9 away from home. So I think that you can see why they're desperately lacking for a striker. I thought our midfield coped really well. I thought our transition first half was good. And I thought for somebody like Enzo, who's a 100 million player, lads, I wouldn't give you 20 bob for him, because I thought he was absolute shite. I thought Miley was better than him when he came on, and he didn't do too much. So
and that's their captain as well.
Yeah, exactly. And look, it does get heated, but listen, there was a lot of niggles. There were some bad tackles, and I thought at one point when Enzo and Bruno were going at it, Bruno maybe started to get a little bit, and I think he was kind of pulled back into line and everything else. So listen, 3 points, 2 games to go. I think the lads are right. I think, listen, down to Arsenal, take a point. I'd take a point now. I thought like the guy said, I thought second half they were really good against Liverpool yesterday to come back from 2-0 down. That's not going to be an easy task, and I think they'll probably definitely be up for it after the cup semi, and we do give them a fair bit of flack. I certainly do on Twitter. So I'd say we're in for a fairly tough game, and then I think if we pull something off of that, I think we absolutely bounce Everton at St James's final day of the season. If the sun is shining, we hit Champions League, and I think that Barry and the guys, they make good points about the difference. Alan made a good point about the difference between finishing 5th and finishing 3rd. But I think what we're also missing and what nobody talks about enough is getting Champions League helps us secure the likes of Isaac and everybody else, because you have that Champions League. And for me, that's a bigger piece for me than an extra couple of million. And I know the money's great, but for me, you get that Champions League, it settles everybody down that may come sniffing, because there's no way the likes of Gordon, Bruno and Isaac are going to go if we're in the Champions League. So let's do it for them and for us, and just top the season off. It'll be the best season I've ever seen if we get this trophy and Champions League. Don't think you'll see better unless we win Premier League. So yeah, it's great game. Bring on the next one.
I agree, Martin. A big welcome to Chelsea fan Sean in the chat. He says, agreed, sickens me that one of those will get in. He says, talking about Man United and Spurs of course. I understand us not being like because of the money spent, big 6 bias, but no one grinds my gears like United. Such an arrogant fan base. Good luck to Spurs, I would say, for me in that final. I don't want Man United to win it at all. I think it's a farce that either of them should get Champions League. I really do feel for Forest. Got European football. They should be really happy with that. It's been a hell of a season for them. But at the same time, missing out on Champions League, I think it's going to be harsh. And it does, at the moment, look as if they could. But plenty twists and turns still happen in the next couple of games. Jeff, we'll come to you, mate. Your top has been getting quite a bit of chat. People feel, I think your camera's reversed, George. Basically, Dean said, Jeff, your Cellar top's been printed backwards on your strip. It actually says Ales. Now you look as if you're in Australia.
All right. Okay.
There he is, Salah. There he is. Brilliant stuff.
I'm a bit disorientated.
You will be after turning upside down. What did you make of the game, Jeff?
Well, I mean, first of all, I have to big up Fletcher for pointing out that's why we play the game, because you can't predict the result, which is a fantastic bit of punditry, which I never knew. The fact that it was on Sky, on TNT, and not Virgin, again, it sort of emphasised the problem we've got here, that you've got to have 3 subscriptions to be able to see this stuff, assuming we have 3 subscriptions. Tactically, I was disappointed in Chelsea. They were trying to play out against our press, and then they were trying to trying to kick long against Dan Burn. And overall, they were kicking and scrapping and generally being really, what's that about? You can't kick your way through a football match anymore. And going down to, they should have gone down to 2 men down by the time they'd finished. But I was very disappointed. That's not the way to play football. And the second half, it had to be that way. They had no other choice but to attack. And I think and again, with an early goal, there's a sort of stunning effect. It can shock. It happened at Villa, and it can shock the team. But if you score an early goal or they score an early goal, there can be a sort of little shock, because everything you've said in the dressing room before you went out is out the window now. All the ideas you had about what you're going to do in the first 10 minutes didn't include them scoring, probably. And overall, our play was so much better. We're talking about position and our formation, but it's very fluid. People move around the field as if by magic, and Tunali's everywhere. Very impressive. Yeah, nice little bit of South African soap opera. I really like that. And Dan Burn, man of the match. Yes, I think my advice is to buy Asda shares. I think he's one of the best adverts for Asda for a long time. And does anybody mention the badge, just in case? I quite like the badge, whichever way around it is. And we should all get out there and buy as much club clobber as possible so we can afford to buy another player. I think something like that. Anyway, I'm going to I've got my black and white nipple pasties on order. And have you noticed that James is an absolute spit at Joe Linton? He may have been missing, but James is always, separated at birth job. And hair of the day goes to Cucurella. I think that's a very fine head of hair. And poor old Enzo, on the subject of kit, he's wearing pink now, which is fair enough. But what's the white kit about? There's a special white kit that we have to stand. If you're standing behind the manager in his black kit, you have to wear special white kit for standing behind the manager. Very strange. I don't like that white kit with a very, very nebulous badge on it. All right. And final thing, I tried to join Facebook so I could be with you guys. And I joined and you identified me. And then they said and then I got thrown out for illegal activities. Right? I rejoined, got onto the NUFC page, and then got thrown out for life. I've been banned for life, lads.
Life off.
Illegal activities, I have no idea. Looking for NUFC matters is clearly pushed the boundaries for that. So I'm afraid I can't join you on Facebook. I've been banned for life, and they can, and up there's with a pointy one as far as I'm concerned. I don't care. They can have the corner flag up theirs. Anyway,
brilliant stuff. Thanks, Jeff, for that. As always, enlightening. Ian, your views on your views on the match, Ian.
I don't know how I can follow that, Jeff.
Sorry.
When Jeff went upside down before, I thought he'd flown off on his magic carpet.
Still on the wall.
But yeah, no, everyone said everything that I think I wanted to say. Enzo's a knob, isn't he? Let's talk about they've got some right knobs in that team, haven't they? Cucurella, bloody Sideshow Bob, he is a right little knob, isn't he? Yeah. What a plonker he is. Yeah, there's a few of them anyway, but I'm just going to be repeating a lot of stuff, but red card, 100% red card. Called it straight away, even watching on telly, you could see. He takes a look at him, checks where the ball is, looks again, whack. And he couldn't have gone through him much harder. He didn't take a massive swing at it, but he made sure he went through and followed it through. And that's a mark to Botman about how he didn't react and how he got up. I hope I give him a right shooing in the tunnel, if I'm being honest. But I don't think he did. I think he did that on the pitch. He was brilliant, Botman. I've never seen a player come back from long-term injury and just walk back into a team and look like that good, especially in the position he plays in. He was excellent. He's excellent. 100%. What a player. Dan Burn, brilliant again. Bruno's shit I was really impressed with as well. And I know his shot got a massive deflection, which did help it, but I think he hit that shot really well as well, by the way. So it was probably, if it wasn't going in, it was going to be a good save to stop it. And I thought Eddie Howe got the tactics spot on first half. We had a bit of a wobble second half. He shouldn't have put Murph to right back. He can't play right back for me. His positioning was well out, but he realised that straight away and brought Crafty on. Apart from that, I couldn't see that he got too much wrong. The only thing Eddie got wrong was saying that he didn't think that what's his name meant the elbow. He's not that sort of player. Well, he clearly is. He clearly did that on purpose. But yeah, no, great result. And I think, I don't want to say it, but I think we've got it all to lose. Let's put it that way. We get any sort of result against Arsenal, and we're there, I think.
Yeah, Okay, good stuff. Got 15 minutes left, so let's just get the lads' opinions on the forthcoming match against Arsenal. Darren, come to you on the bottom row to start with, mate. What do you make of this game at the weekend? And then Newcastle, of course, have beaten Arsenal 3 times this season and not conceded a goal. Could be the first time we've ever beaten a team 4 times in one season. So, how are you feeling about the game? Marino, of course, out of this particular fixture. He was sent off at the weekend. Kai Havertz might return to the team, but they are still muddling along without a centre forward, and they're not in the greatest of form despite their comeback against Liverpool. So how do you feel about this game, Darren? What's your prediction?
It's going to be hard. Arsenal wants revenge after beating them 3 times. So if a player how would play against Chelsea face off, we possibly win. If a player would play Chelsea second off, we could possibly lose. So I think Arsenal are a bit better than Chelsea, and they want the revenge, and it's their last home game of the season, so they're going about to push the cut against us. So the most I can hope for will be a draw, a 1-1. If we can't afford to take a hit, if we get beat, but I want a point, if anything. That'll do me. So that's my prediction, Steve.
Okay, Magnus, how are you feeling going into this big game at the weekend?
Well, I think it's another cup final. Once again, we've spoken a lot about that, but we become a really good cup final team, and I am still feeling the same way as the prediction when we had 10 games left. I think this is a victory of ours. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. There's going to be yellow cards. There might even be a red card, but I think we're going to just edge them 1-2. I am feeling optimistic. I think we can get the this is a really hard word for me to say. Quadruple or over them, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-0. I'm making my prediction nice and early this week. I do think Newcastle will win, and I think they'll win comfortably. I think it'll be a 2-0 win at the Emirates. Kev, are you feeling as confident?
Yes and no. I am, based on our current form, again, essentially against them, and plus, I don't know how many losses we've had in the last 20 odd games or whatever it is. So we're both coming into the game. We could go second if we actually get a result here. So I think that's going to be the big message. If it was me, I would say, hey, we go second here. Then we've got Everton at home. Then we could really cement that. However, for me, it would be a similar display in the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final, of playing mid to low blocks, housery, getting underneath the skin, not, pretty much what Chelsea done in the whole game this past weekend. Just get underneath their skin, because they don't like us, we don't like them. That's just, it is what it is. So I'll take a 1-1. I'll go with that, and I'll be quite happy with that. If we sneak a 1-0 in the last minute, hey, we're in. But like I said, the message is going to have to be, if you perform like you have done in the previous however many games since Christmas, you can get some results here today, fellas, and go and give everything you have, and then have a celebration on the last day of the season against Everton, and go and get another victory, and you're pretty much finishing second at that point. And let's go and end the season on a high. So, yeah, 1-1, 1-0. I'll go with a 1-1, just to be on the safe side. I don't want to push the boat out too far.
Okay, Pablo.
I'm going to go 1-0 Isaac penalty. The beauty of this, lads, is come Sunday afternoon at 4:30, with it being the FA Cup final, on the Friday night, you've got Villa Tottenham and Chelsea Man U on the Friday night. So depending on what happens in those games, and let's be honest, they could go either way, then games. I know Tottenham have been absolutely diabolical, but they turn up sometimes. Chelsea Man U, it's the only time I'll ever support Man United in my life. Having said that, I won't be putting that on Facebook, but what I'm trying to say is, come Sunday afternoon, we may have a better idea of what we actually need to do in that game. Let's say some results go for us. We maybe not need to expose ourselves so much. Maybe what I'm trying to say is Eddie will watch that Friday night and maybe he will adapt accordingly. And he's shown us certainly in the last few weeks that he can adapt. Certainly against Chelsea, he knows how to adapt. So I'm still going to go with a 1-0 win, Isaac, because I think we've got the mental edge over Arsenal at the minute. And I think Eddie's certainly got the edge over what's his name, Pep Guardiola's love child.
Arteta.
Is that his name, Arteta? I call him something else, but yeah,
Arteta.
Yeah, I'll call him Arteta as well. Yeah, but I think as well, just a quick one as well. That Chelsea guy, how many little kind of Pep Robertons have we got in the Premier League now? They're coming up everywhere. Just be different, lads. Don't wear them jumpers and shave your head and wear your silly pants. Just do something different. But anyway, no, in a roundabout way, 1-0. Isaac penalty.
Okay, Martin.
Yeah, I think, look, the lads have pretty much said everything I was going to say. I think it'll be tough enough game. Looks like they've got a couple out. I mean, Marino's been scoring all their goals, so I'm kind of glad to see that he's out. They do kind of struggle, but like I say, they did look good second half against Liverpool. But Kev makes a point as well. We don't like them, they don't like us, and I think we have the upper hand. But I think it is good with the games on the Friday night. Eddie will kind of know what we need to do, so he could definitely change it up. But I'm going to go same as Kev. I think 1-1 Isaac and probably Martinelli or one of those to score for them. So I'm going to go 1-1 and share the points and then smash Everton the following week.
Okay, Alan?
I think the first goal is going to be the major thing in this game, lads. I do. Whoever scores the first goal will have the massive edge in the game. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win, and simply, and my rallying cry, Eddie Howe, would be make history, lads, because if we come second and win a cup, that'll be the best season we've ever had since the war, lads. It'll be history. It'll be the greatest season I've ever known. It'll be 55 years of watching them. I don't know about George as such. He's seen 3 FA Cups, but has he seen we've come runner-up as well? So I'm pushing the board out, but that would be my rallying cry, Eddie Howe. Like I said, for the basically the Carabao Cup semi-final, go and make history, lads, and then smash Everton the following week. Because if we win, we're in the Champions League, lads. We're there, before the Everton game. If we win against Arsenal, we're in the Champions League. End of. Because Villa and Chelsea can only match with points total then. So go out there, have no fear. I'm sure they haven't, but it's going to be very, very tough, Steve. But I'm going to stick my neck out, lads, and say 2-1 to us.
2-1. Okay, Barry.
I've just got this feeling. I mentioned it before about Arsenal going wibbly wobbly, and I think every time they're under the pressure or every time their fans are getting at them, they seem to chuck one. And I think with it being the last home game of the season, they're not happy with the way they've performed. They're slagging off their manager. I think the fans will get at them if they're struggling. And I honestly think with the confidence we've got, my worry with the last 3 games was the Chelsea match. I honestly thought Chelsea could do something, and we're being proved that Eddie had the better of them. I think we're going to go down there, Steve, and I'm going for a 2-0 win. I'm not as good as Magnus when it comes to predicting the scores, but I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. I think we're going to beat them, and I think hopefully the Everton game will be irrelevant. That we'll have already done it.
Okay, George?
We got the same one right now. So we're both right.
Well, as always, Mr. Positive, I think we've got nothing to lose with this game, and since the Carabao Cup, we've learned to win, and you need to bear in mind the only team that's won more of the games than us this season is Liverpool. We've won 20, they've won 21. So we're winning mentality's there now, and we take that to the Emirates this weekend, and they could easily do a job. I don't think it'll be a classic game. I think if we win, it'll be 1-0, and it might even be a dirty goal. But I couldn't care less as long as we get a result, and I think the result will be 1-0. People saying that I've seen 3 cup finals. The difference then, as I said before, is the cup final. The cup was the only place for the players to get any money. There was no money in winning the league. All the money was in the FA Cup. And it was open secret on Tyne's side, particularly in 51, 52, that we actually bottled the league deliberately so we would get the cup final. You know, we fielded weakened teams. You know, we criticised Liverpool for fielding a weakened team against Arsenal the other week. Well, in the 50-51 cup runs, we were in the last 4 games we were playing reserves. Worse than reserves, we were putting kids in, and those that was a disaster. And of course, it cost with the league. It's particularly in 51, it cost with the league. So, but the cup was the be all and end all. That's not the case now. The cup's just the beginning now. Like the Carabao Cup for me is just the beginning. And to really end the season with a cup and Champions League would be tops for me. But better than that, some of the football we played this year has been absolutely fantastic and a joy to watch, and done with good spirit, with a manager that's really intelligent. You know, he very rarely criticises opponents or anybody else. Never throws a player under a bus like a previous manager used to do every week. And we've done it all in good faith and not spending a lot of money, lads. Three windows with nout. I hope they make up for that this window, because 3 good players down the spine of our team, and we'll take some beating next year. So 1-0 to me, and I think we're second place is ours.
Okay, Ian?
I'd like us to. I'd love it if we beat them 4-0. That'd be funny to get just to rub it in even more. But no, I think it'll be a hard game. I actually feel like 2-1's I think we're going to beat them 2-1. I've just got a feeling for 2-1, so that's what I'm going with. That I think we will have a massive boost if Joe Linton can play. And there's talk, I don't know whether it's rubbish coming from podcasts or whatever, but there's talk about him getting injections and stuff, and that always sounds to me like someone's getting injections. They're trying to get him back on that pitch, and they wouldn't do it if they didn't think there was a chance of it. Well, I might be wrong. That's just what I'm hearing. But yeah, I think we're going to do them, and it would be nice if 4-0 would be the dream, just to stick it up their backsides. But yeah, that's what I reckon.
Okay, last, but by no means least, Jeff.
Well, it's 3 points. I won't predict the score, other than there'll be 3 points in it for us. A quick word about Liverpool, who, if this was a horse race, there'd be a steward's inquiry the way they're behaving at the moment. Because they're not exactly trying very hard. And the idea of going down there and silencing the crowd is a nice idea down at the Library of Football. And I would just like to say I'm looking forward to it. And I think our travelling fans will make it a very memorable day for them. We're very good at pooping people's parties. And 3 points.
Great stuff. Thank you to Magnus, to Kevin, to Pablo, to Martin, to Alan, to Barry, to George, to Ian, to Jeff, and to Darren. Thanks to everybody in the chat for all your comments. And we will be back next week. And I'll be back tomorrow, 2 o'clock, with Talk of the Tune. See you then at 2 o'clock. Take care, everybody.
See you later.
Good to see you all.
Big thanks to all our sponsors. Skips and Bins. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email, info@mrvickies.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel, UK Coach Holidays. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew, driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels, no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach. All excursions included. Their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com, email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com, telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the technical side of things. And if you want to listen to us as a podcast, you can find us on Sport Social Podcast Network. We're also available on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you want to support the channel, then hit the subscribe button. We still do 7 shows a week. Hit the like button, which is the thumb underneath this video, and click share to your social media. You can also take out a monthly membership or an annual membership at nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. For the lifetime membership, you can pay £25 and get a pen, a beer mat, a fridge magnet, a badge and a keyring and your membership card and entry into the monthly draw. Some events coming up: 27th of June 2025, the end of season party. Beresford, Howie and Watson will be at the Tyneside Irish Centre with Joe Allen in aid of North Tyneside Age UK. You can get your tickets for that one from nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk or from Woucher. No Covers takes place at the Cluny. That's on the 29th of June, midday till 3:45, and tickets are £10 from theclooney.com or newcastlelegends.com. Northern Horizon, a Blake 7 convention, takes place on the 9th of August, 10 till 4 at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Come and be some of the cast and crew in aid of Age UK North Tyneside Dementia. Tickets from nufcmatters.co.uk. An evening with Peter Beardsley and Chris Waddle takes place on Friday the 23rd of January 2026 at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. You can get tickets from the box office 0844 249 1000 or from tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk. And Bad Manners are back in the Northeast at the O2 City Hall, Friday the 30th of January 2026. Tickets from ticketmaster.co.uk. And we have copies of The Entertainer's book, signed by Les Ferdinand, available from nufcmatters.co.uk.